Matteo. Yes, let's start.
Okay. Hello? Okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming, and let's start, because we are already a little bit late. And I am Matteo Beccaro, and I am a CTO in a company I'm starting in Italian, and we do like offensive physical security among other services. This is my Twitter ID if you want to get in touch for comments or whatever, feedback from the presentation. And I leave now the word to my colleague, Matteo Collura.
Hello all. I'm Matteo Collura. I'm a student at Politecnico of Turin. It's a university in Italy, and I'm studying electronic engineering. I plan to move maybe to Switzerland next year. And I'm a researcher in multiple fields, and we together worked for several projects. And today we are going to speak about Bluetooth. So I will introduce what is Bluetooth, just some little details, not so boring, and some known and unknown risks. So a little bit of history. So let's start. Bluetooth is a wireless standard, and it has almost 20 years, because the first version was in 1994. And it uses short wavelength, ultra-high frequency from 2.4 to 2.485 gigahertz, and 79 channels to allow the communication, with an adaptive frequency hopping procedure, so that if there is a channel with some interference, it can jump to another one and make the communication easier. The name comes from a king of Denmark, Harald Bluetooth. So I say that is some Scandinavian humor. You see those are some runes for the Danish alphabet, and they put together. It is a layer protocol architecture. So basically, you choose your protocols, and you compile them. So you start from a physical layer, then you need a baseband, and then, of course, a link manager to manage the connections. And then you can do whatever you want, audio applications, telephony, other kind of protocols. There are a lot of them. During those more than 20 years, there has been a lot of updates. Starting from the first versions, the version 1, well, there are some important updates. The mandatory BD address, something like a MAC address. Well, you may think it is obvious. Of course it is. We need a physical address to connect our devices. Then the IEEE decided to make it a standard in 2002. Then other updates regarding the adaptive frequency hopping and some of these features regarding the connection and, let's say, how to make it easy and resistant to interferences. Then they made such updates to enhance the data rate that was going to be transferred, so faster data transfer with version 2.0. From version 2.1, there is a very important update. We will discuss about the pairing procedure. This update fixed a lot of important vulnerabilities I will show you later. Then from version 3.0, well, I think the most important update was version 4.0, which included Bluetooth Low Energy, that is now commonly used in such IoT devices, wearable technologies. They are using always the low energy protocol because it is better from the point of view of consumptions, because it has lower consumptions, and easier to be implemented. So let's speak about some vulnerabilities. I think this one was one of the most important. Well, the most important was the following one, but from here it all started. It was discovered in late 2003 and discovered by Holtman and Lowry. And it was regarding the Bluetooth implementation on mobile phones and pocket palms. And this vulnerability exploited the OBEX protocol. The OBEX protocol was used to send files and request files in a transfer of data. And they discovered that if you know exactly where the path of your file was located, was stored, if you made a GET request to that file, you were allowed to easily to download that file, to get that file from the other device without any prompt on the other device. So, and no authentication was needed. So you had just to know where the file was located. At the time, on the Pocket Palm with the mobile OS, Windows Mobile on it, the first versions, it was easy to spot where, for example, the contacts were stored. So you were able to download, to dump the contacts and those kind of data. This vulnerability, this was a simple scheme. As you can see, you can bypass this block where there is a security manager, the control, because you were allowed just to force the request to get your file. But this was the most important, I think, because the year after, Martin Herford joined Adam Lowry in studying about those vulnerabilities, and they presented at DEF CON 12 this big vulnerability. It was a security loophole in which you were able to send proper commands to a certain device through a plain serial connection. I mean, you were able to force the device, the victim device, to execute some commands. And you were able, for example, to make it ring or to send pictures without any prompt on the user side, just sending commands through a plain serial connection. So I don't know if you remember if you ever pawned a Symbian OS phone, but it was one of the most, let's say, exploited vulnerabilities, this one, to dump the pictures of your victim phone. And I played a lot on this, I remember. And it was very fun. And another one, very important, was Blue Chop. Well, it was used to disrupt a Piconet, so a connection between multiple devices. And actually, it worked because if you tried to insert inside this Piconet and sending the master a request, just a simple request of contact, hey, I want to, well, hey, this is your Piconet, I'm here. The master was confused about that request because he cannot recognize it, and the connection was destroyed. But let's analyze now some procedures, the pairing procedures that were fixed just with version 2.1. This was important because, as you can see from this little picture, the pairing procedure was done in this way. The first device sends to the second one, which wanted to pair to the first, a random number. He was supposed to generate random number. At this point, by evaluating with a proper algorithm and taking into account the MAC address of the device who was asking to pair, both the two generated kInit value. With this value, they generated a link key, the link key used to pair the two devices. But at this point, there is something missing. No one is checking if the two link keys are the same. And this is, okay, it's not good. And the authentication, which was the next phase, the next step in order to establish a connection, actually worked like this. The first device generated a random number and sent to the device who asked to connect to the first one, to authenticate. Then this number, sres, was evaluated with the MAC address of the claimant device and sent back to the verifier. At this point, the verifier already calculated the same sres and checks if they are the same. At this point, if they are the same, the two devices are authenticated. By version 2.1, the pairing procedure was improved, and there was an additional check which was missing in the previous. And that way, the random numbers exchanged were actually two. Well, the first device, the initiating one, was sending its own random number, and the non-initiating device was sending its own random number. Then those two values were combined in the evaluation of another factor. And after all this procedure, the two devices was working simultaneously. And finally, they produced a number. And that number was displayed on the user side, on their mobile or their device. At the point, the user decided to compare the two numbers and say, OK, they are the same. We can start the connection. Press the OK button. And this was the update, the essential update for version 2.1. Regarding the new versions of Bluetooth, so 4.0, we need to talk about this one. That was an encryption bypass and discovered by Mark Ryan. The fact is that if you are working with Bluetooth 4.0, they invented a different way to exchange keys, a different protocol, not, for example, the elliptic curve most used, but used that strange method. Starting from pairing, they generate a temporary key. From that temporary key generates another key, and the final one, that is the long-term key, is the one used for the connection. The point is that from temporary key on, the exchanging procedure is done over the air in plain text. So if I get the temporary key, I'm actually able to get the long time key. So let's focus on the temporary key. How can we get that? There are three ways in order to make the pairing if we are working with Bluetooth 4.0. And they are just shown here. Just works, 6-digit PIN, or out of band. OK, if it is out of band and we are not focusing on that spectrum band, we are fucked up because we cannot intercept that key, of course. But if we are in just works, the temporary key is by default set to 0. So easy. And if there is a PIN, a 6-digit PIN requested, we have a 108-bit number. So it is from 0 to 999 and 999 padded to 128 bits. So if we join those two cases with i7 processor, just one core, 1 second, in order to brute force all the possibilities and try them all. So it's easy. I get the temporary key, then the short time key and the long time key. I can break everything. And this procedure is going to be computed offline because I will evaluate all the possible values for my temporary key. And that's it. So now I will leave the word to my friend, and we'll show what we actually did for this research.
Okay. Let's start introducing what the smart unlock is. It's a feature introduced with Android 5.0, and it enables the smartphone to be unlocked without user interaction. The only thing is that one of these conditions must apply. For example, we have the NFC unlock, and so if we tap on a tag previously saved on the smartphone, the smartphone is unlocked. Then we have the face recognition unlock, so it's a common feature. If the camera of the smartphone recognizes the owner, then the smartphone unlock without the PIN code or the passcode. Then we have the body unlock. The smartphone is in contact with the body. I have no idea why they implement this thing, because it doesn't recognize if the body is of the owner or not, of course. So I don't know. And then we have the location unlock, so we can set a range, and if the smartphone is within its range, the smartphone is unlocked. And then we have the Bluetooth unlock, which is of course what we are focusing on today. And for the Bluetooth unlock, we have this condition. The user set a paired Bluetooth device, so we already have paired with the target Bluetooth device, and we set this device as trusted. And from now on, every time we connect to this device, the smartphone is automatically unlocked. So we don't have to put PIN code or whatever. So what's the problem? The problem is that in Android version before 5.1, the link key is not checked to verify the Bluetooth device. So the point is that it's basically a MAC address-based authentication, because we have the smartphone, we analyze the connection to the Bluetooth device or vice versa, and if MAC address BD address is known, so the smartphone gets the device details. If it is not known, then the authentication process starts. But there is no check on the link key. Well, what does it mean? It means that we just need to get the MAC address of the target device to unlock the smartphone without the PIN code. And it is interesting because in Bluetooth, we don't need the full MAC address. We just need the four byte of the MAC address, the last 4 bytes of the MAC address. And how can we get those bytes? We have 2 solutions. The first one is to brute force it, but we can't do it offline, so we have to initiate a new request, a new connection request every time. And the other method is sniffing. Both of them have cons, of course. Brute force is slow because we need to create a new connection every time. It's expensive because even if we can parallelize it, because we can use a different Bluetooth dongle, for example, to create parallel connections, over time it gets expensive. And anyway, also if we have like 100 dongles, it's definitely too long. And then we have sniffing. Sniffing requires vicinity, because the target must be near us, because we have to intercept the communication between the smartphone and the Bluetooth device, for example, a smartwatch or whatever. There is an authentication process required, because to get the all 4 bytes, we need the authentication process. To intercept the authentication process, because as we saw before, the BD address is required to create the link key for the function. One of the parameters in the function to generate the link key is the MAC address. Yep. And the target can become aware, because we are usually not normal people. Look at your side, and we see that you are not normal people. So if someone at the bar see a guy like this one, he can become aware of something is wrong. This guy is my hero. When I was a little guy, in my village there was no speed internet connection. I was just have the 50C key connection, and I'm 20, so it's not a long time ago. And this guy inspired me to create my first antenna to steal Wi-Fi connection from the village nearby, which was like 1.5 kilometers. So this is my hero. Don't play with him. Okay, so what we found is the solution. The solution is hybrid, because there is another issue in Android, that Android, when you turn on the Bluetooth, automatically starts sending out beacons with the MAC address of already paired devices. It's something similar to Wi-Fi connection. When you turn on your Wi-Fi, you start looking for already known networks, and it does that, sending out the MAC address of this network. And we said that the trusted device must be already paired, so the MAC address of the trusted device is sent. And so we can intercept the beacons, and so we get the first 3 bytes of the MAC address we need, and then we can just brute force 1 byte, which is 256 possible MAC addresses, so that's more convenient. And okay, it's difficult. Now I have a video, a demo. We planned to do the video yesterday night. Yesterday night, ZeroNights organized the speaker party, and we are in Russia, and there is a lot of alcohol in Russia. So the video was not good. So we used the video we made at DEF CON. DEF CON was made in Vegas. Vegas has a lot of alcohol. So the problem is still the same. So I'm very sorry for the quality of the video. I try to explain what the important parts are, but again, sorry. Okay, what we will do here is just to show how the MAC address is changed on the Kali Linux, for example. So this is, of course, not a true MAC address. It's just some spoofed MAC address. And we are now scanning for Bluetooth devices to clone a MAC address of our known Bluetooth devices. Okay. This is the one highlighted. I don't know if you can see. Yes, you can see it. Is the MAC address of the target Bluetooth device we are trying to spoof. Oh, sorry. Okay, we just changed our MAC address, and now we are resetting the Bluetooth interface just to apply the changes. Okay, so now you see that MAC address is changed. And what we are doing now is just starting HEDump, which basically print out all the HEI packets from the Bluetooth interface. And on this screen you see Android device, which we turn on the Bluetooth interface and automatically try to connect, and it's unlocked. So here you can see that there is this MAC address who is trying to request a connection to our laptop. And since the connection from the perspective of the Android device is already happened, the authentication is already happened, the link key is supposed to be stored on both devices, so it's not calculated again. And so the Android device think that the laptop is okay and unlock the device without the PIN code. And after a few seconds, of course, the data exchange doesn't match, because the link key is also used to create the keys for the encryption of the data, which is, of course, not doable because we don't have the link key. So after a few seconds, the device gets again locked. We are just showing that the device is SIM connected. Okay, this should be the PIN code requested. Again, sorry for the video quality shit. Okay, with Android 5.1, there is a new feature, which is that we can access the Bluetooth menu of stored device from the lock screen without the PIN code. So we can select the target device and send out beacons only for that device. So if before we have to, we will get the MAC address of all previous saved device, Bluetooth previous saved device. Now we can select and target just one device to even further decrease the number of brute force tries required. And there is a new video, but the best is yet to come, in which we just show, this is the UberTooth interface, which is running on the laptop, and on the right we have again the Android device, in which we are enabling the Bluetooth interface. And as you can see, we are trying to connect just to this device, Creative It's WP 380. And here we can see the MAC address, which is the LAP of just this device, which is 4B6A82. So as you can see, we see a lot of packets just for this device. And the device was not in range. So as you can see, the connection doesn't happen because the device is not in range. We just have the smartphone, but we can have the first 3 byte required for the authentication. And that's it. And now, oh yes, okay. With Android 5.1, they fixed the issue of the Smart Unlock feature, which is built in Android, but the API of Bluetooth in Android are still vulnerable to this thing. So if you have even now with Android 6.0, they are still vulnerable. We request a fix to the Android security team, and they respond that, I don't know if you can read, they say, okay, there is a method in AOSP and it's public. This method is supposed to check if the connection is encrypted or not, but the method as today, actually not 27 April, but today is still not present in the latest version of the SDK. So you cannot use this method if you are running the official Android SDK. Okay, so the Android Smart Unlock feature is fixed, so what's the problem with the API? Because there is a lot of third-party applications which are emulating the Smart Unlock feature for Android 4.x or 3.x or whatever. So if you are running an older version of Android, which we are probably doing, because we know the Android updates are not so fast, and you are using this application to emulate the Smart Unlock feature, then you get problems. And I have the latest demo, which is the worst one. You will see probably just my face. I'm sorry for that. This is me yesterday in Vegas, probably drunk, trying to do this video. I'm sorry. So here we are just changing again. It's also the focus problem is his fault, not mine. I just writing on the keyboard, so blame him. And we are just okay. We changed the Bluetooth MAC address again to the target device, and we are resetting the interface as before. Okay, so the MAC address is now changed, and now we will start the visibility. Okay, we start the visibility of the laptop so that other Bluetooth devices can see actually the Bluetooth interface on the laptop. And okay, and now we move to the, oh yes, and we start HEC dump again to see the packets. And now we move to the, in this case, an Android tablet with Android 4 point something, I don't remember, sorry. And we turn on the Bluetooth interface. It automatically try to connect to this device, Creative WP whatever, which is the MAC address we spoofed before. And okay, I don't know if you can read here. Device unlocked, and the Creative WP 380 is not connected, just available, but the device is unlocked anyway because the application using the API thinks that the device has the correct link key, so is correctly connected, but that's not true. So Okay, here we just see the packets, and we see that after a few seconds the connection is terminated, but we already have the Android device unlocked, so we don't care. In this way, we can bypass both the PIN code, the encryption of the device, whatever. If we need to extract information like contacts, whatever. For example, take from the point of view of police, which are taking your smartphone because you are doing bad stuff, you know. Okay, future work. Future work, we were focusing on. We are trying to apply the same methodology we use for this kind of test. So trying to see what are the critical points. In this case was the link key and the verification of the link key actually on several other devices, which are like, for example, IoT devices, smart locks, Fitband. We have some issues here and there, but we can discuss now because we are under NDA and, you know, this is recorded, whatever. And that's because Bluetooth is everywhere. I mean, every device has Bluetooth now. Every IoT device implements or Bluetooth or Zigbee or Wi-Fi, but Bluetooth is very, very common. So thank you. Thank you for your time, and that's it. Okay, question. You have 13 minutes, so you have to make some questions because you can't leave the room. At least one. Ask about Italy, ask something. It doesn't have to be related to the presentation.
Did you enjoy? Oh, okay. That's a question.
Have experience in
There is a box with something for you.
Yeah. Do you have experience with discovering some vulnerability of Bluetooth itself when we can execute like shellcode or something?
I think that was something related to the vulnerability discovered by Adam Lowry with the blue bug.
Yeah, but it's rather old.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
something new.
10 years ago or something like that.
So what do you think if I need to find this stuff? What should I start from?
Okay, you have to first of all you have to read the Bluetooth specification, at least some part of it. It's like a big book, very big book. Anyway, and then you need some. I don't know if you know the Bluetooth device.
Yeah.
Okay, you need it because you need to be able to decode the Bluetooth packets. And then you need to know also the specific implementation of the device you are looking at. For example, we were focusing on Android, but if you want to check the same things on I don't know, your smart lock, your IoT smart lock, you have to know how the IoT smart lock handle the Bluetooth connection, what are the packets sent, what are the interface of the Bluetooth which are exposed from the smart lock. As we said in the beginning, the Bluetooth is just a big protocol in which you can stack a lot of other protocols. Yeah. And so these are not mandatory. So every implementation has different protocols inside and expose different kind of features.
So we can attack every layer, yeah?
Sorry?
So we can attack every layer of this stuff, yeah? We can...
No. You can analyze every layer. You can start studying every layer with the Bluetooth and the HCI dump. You can start analyzing the packets, but again, the layer depends on the implementation. So you can say there is no general way to analyze everything.
So since 2004, no even single exploit exists for this stuff?
I don't know.
No. Well, other exploits. I just quoted the most important exploits.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but
there are several exploits.
Yes.
For Bluetooth, like dozen, but these are the most critical. What we used to start studying, we analyze how these bugs are discovered, and then we applied some of this methodology for our stuff, and we create what you're seeing now.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Hello. Have you tried using some sort of software-defined radio, that sort of stuff, so you can analyze lower layers, or just default Bluetooth transceivers?
Yes, and then we saw that was a mess. So actually we focus on the higher level. Is pretty easy with the Ubertooth because the coding of the packets is all done automatically. And we also use a lot of the HCI dump information because you can see where the process starts or stop in the connection. But we didn't go on the lower layer, on the bottom of this table.
Yeah, thank you.
Eight minutes. Okay.
Hello, the software used is yours, or I can download it from something?
Okay, we didn't use any kind of particular software. We just use the Ubertooth utility, which are free available on GitHub, and we use actually this is a logical bug. It's not something. It's logical because there is this missing check. So there is no need to create new tools. You just analyze how the connection is made, how is the checking procedure is implemented in Android. So you just use the standard tools, Wireshark, Ubertooth, and HCI dump, which is built in Linux, and you can analyze the whole procedure, all the authorization, all the communication and connection procedures.
Okay, thank you.
One more question. Does standard software and hardware allow to just monitor, monitor another packets without actually making connection, to observe and sniff packets from other devices, or you need something special devices or special drivers maybe?
Okay, the Ubertooth is required to intercept packets. You can change MAC address if you have some particular chipset made by Broadcom and another chipset manufacturer, which I don't remember. But this dongle, Bluetooth dongle, you can buy from eBay for €1 or something like that. It's very, very, very cheap. Instead, for intercepting things, there is the needing of the Ubertooth device, which is anyway. Again, €80. It's not the craziest thing. I actually think you can apply the same things used for the Ubertooth on any kind of SDR, which has the range of the Bluetooth frequency, of course, so 2.4 gigahertz. But of course, the Ubertooth is simpler because everything is just created for that. If you have to buy a new SDR for this, I don't recommend it. Just buy the Ubertooth.
Thank you.
So you were targeting Bluetooth 4, like Bluetooth Low Energy?
No, the version is not it's not something that matters here.
Oh, okay.
The Bluetooth connection is the problem. As we saw before. Both in Bluetooth 2.0 or before or Bluetooth 4, every time we use a key for establishing the encrypted connection. So the problem is that in Android before 5.1, this key, whatever it is, whatever version it is not checked. So every version of Android is was vulnerable to this issue. Did you like the videos? Please say yes. Thank you.
Well, if no more questions are present, I will say, okay, thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the talk. And so a big thank you once again.
If you are shy, we stay here for a couple of minutes if you have more questions you don't want to say out loud.